While we're on this video game kick, there's also been a lot of consolidation, a lot of mergers and purchases going on, right? How do you feel about that,
this
Brett?
is a very, very big topic.
Yeah.
If you're into games at all, the last 2 weeks have been pretty wild.
Mm-hmm.
So the main thing I want to talk about is the consolidation of the video game industry.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not a good
I mean,
thing.
the same thing's happening in the film industry. Disney bought Fox, and that led to lots of layoffs, and it hurt movies. But
Star Wars, Fox.
Now
Marvel.
it's happening in the video game world.
Now the video game world. So recently what happened was, I think it was about a week or 2 weeks ago at this point, Microsoft purchased Activision-Blizzard for the cool sum of, I believe, $68.7 billion. Now, overall, the consolidation is just not great because now you're going to have these, and I should just continue quickly. This week we found out Sony purchased the developer Bungie, who you'll remember actually created the Halo franchise when they were owned by Microsoft, then went independent, then went under Activision, which now Microsoft just purchased, but then they broke their contract and went independent again from Activision.
Oh, wow.
And are now owned by Sony. So really wild story. It's like really crazy. So these are the two things that happened. And Jim Ryan, who's the head of Sony Worldwide Studios, did come out and say that there are more acquisitions for Sony coming. It's part of the plan.
Wow.
So we know with Microsoft right now with the Xbox, they have Game Pass. So obviously purchasing studios for them, and they're kind of trailing behind Nintendo and Sony right now. They didn't have a great go last generation. PlayStation kind of gave them a run for their money. They didn't really have any exclusives coming out. So now they were able to go ahead and purchase these studios. They have all these studios now to build games. Activision-Blizzard, let's not forget, they make huge franchises like Diablo, Call of Duty. They also own some smaller studios like Toys for Bob, who also did like the Crash Bandicoot reboot recently.
Yeah.
And I think they did like a Spyro the Dragon trilogy. And they have a couple of other odds and
Yeah,
ends.
Activision is huge.
They also own King, who is the maker of Candy Crush for mobile, which we know makes buku bucks. So Microsoft just acquired a lot. But now you have all of these studios under one house. So obviously they have and they just bought Bethesda, 2 years ago for $7 billion. So that's Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, Doom, Wolfenstein. So, I mean, you see they're bolstering their Game Pass portfolio. They want you to subscribe. Now they have all these games exclusive. But now it's like, these used to be multi-platform games. They're still releasing some across multi-platform, but now you have to go to Microsoft if you want to play them. So it just becomes kind of crappy for gamers. It splits up communities. They say they don't want to do that, but eventually they're gonna. Like, why are they gonna give it to Sony when they could just keep it on their platform and make you subscribe and just keep getting your money every month?
Yeah.
Now, Sony, we know, is also working on some kind of Game Pass rival. It's like codename Project Spartacus or something. But we're expecting that to get announced probably in the next couple of months, which is going to be some kind of enhancement probably to PlayStation Plus. So there'll be different tiers. You have the regular online tier. You get the higher tier. Maybe you get access to a bunch of old PS3 and like PS2 games or something. And then there might be like a higher tier where you start getting some PS5, current gen games. So overall, it's like you're just having these two huge monster companies that are just starting to buy up and snatch up all these little guys. And eventually, it is just going to be this completely split market. You're going to, for the consumer, it's not going to be good because you're going to have to, I know a lot of people, if you're blessed enough and have the money and time, you can own maybe more than one system. But for some people, it's not in the cards. And now if you want to really play everything that's coming out, you're going to be split onto these different ecosystems. It's just, like you said, they're going the way of Hollywood. It's a very, very dangerous thing. And I'm a little scared. The one bright side that I will say on this though is Activision-Blizzard has had a ton of allegations over the last year, sexual.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, sexual assault.
That's the bright side. Yeah.
Well, I'll get to the bright side.
Yeah.
That's not good.
On the bright side, Activision's been touching people.
So they've had sexual assault allegations, obviously pay discrepancies, diversity issues. You go through it, and their CEO Bobby Kotick is a real grade A piece of crap, and just super rich, gets these disgusting bonuses every year while people are underpaid at the company, and just does not want to step down, even though everyone's calling for it. They're trying to unionize there. So the only good thing that might come out of this is Microsoft seems to have really created a really nice workplace, and all the studios that have been purchased by them them are seeing improvements in their work-life balance and all that good stuff. So that's the only good thing is I'm kind of happy for Activision-Blizzard. They might be able to actually fix some of these issues. Supposedly Bobby Kotick is going to leave and step down when this transaction is finished in I think next year, March 2023 is when it should actually wrap up for end of Microsoft's fiscal. So it's good for them, but at the end of the day, it's still just a really, really scary prospect that all this is happening. So I do hope for those studios, like things do get better. I hope like these studios that are making these Call of Duty games maybe get to make something else, because I'm sure they're sick of being on there's 3 studios making Call of Duty games on a 3-year cycle. So like one releases, then they work for 3 years while the other one comes out, there's a million studios working on these games. I'm sure they're just sick of it. And Microsoft, to tell you the truth, doesn't need to have a $1 billion Call of Duty release every year. So maybe it'll also allow some of these other studios to make some new IPs. We'll get some new games, and maybe
that's the optimist in you. Yeah, there's no way these people thought of that. They bought the IPs, so they're like, I bought Call of Duty. I want a Call of Duty game every 3 months. All right. Yeah. You know,
I understand that. And that's what I thought too. I'm like, why would they want to give up? It's the best-selling game every year. Yeah. But at the same time, they just don't need it. They just need you to subscribe to Xbox Game Pass and get that recurring income. And then maybe, they can say, hey, you know what? We're going to just have 2 studios work on Call of Duty, and they'll do it every other year, so they get a longer development cycle. They're not crunching. They can have better single-player campaigns, because apparently those have been sliding down the last couple of years. Some of them didn't even have a single-player campaign because they only had 3 years to turn it around, and they just, hey, the money's in the multiplayer. Yeah. So it's just a really wild thing. So I'm happy for Activision-Blizzard in a way. I hope things get better for those people there, but it's just scary that this is going that, and we're going to see more happening. So
I have a weird sort of like I acknowledge all the bad, but believe it or not, there's a part of this that I like, because I still remember when systems thrived because of their exclusives, where each system had its own identity. There were certain games when I was coming up, there were certain games that were only on PlayStation. Certain, just like Nintendo has always had its exclusives, but like certain things were just Sony, certain things were just Xbox, and it gave each device its own identity, and it really made you had to consider, well, what do I really want? And if I really want to play all these games, I have to own both systems. But you know what? It behooves each company to have their own stuff. And to me, these last couple generations of game systems have been hurt by the fact that there's been hardly any exclusives. Like basically PlayStation and Microsoft for the last like 8 or 10 years, it's just about which hardware delights you the most. The actual libraries are virtually identical. And to me, like, I just feel like I liked when each system had its own hook. And the fact that now we might go there, we're like, all right, if I want Microsoft, this is what Microsoft is about. And if I want Sony, this is what Sony is about. So I know it's kind of a narrow way to look at it, because there are larger ramifications than that. But I'm just going to say, I don't hate the idea of everyone having their own key exclusives again. It's what makes them special. I remember, like, for me, like, when I decided I wanted to get a PlayStation, which was a big deal for me because I had been a lifelong Nintendo fanboy who I'd only ever owned a Sega Genesis. Everything else was Nintendo. When I finally made the choice to get a PS2, it was because the PS2 has the Resident Evil games and GTA and the SmackDown wrestling games, and that's the only place I can get them. I'm going to get that machine. I think that there's something to that, about this is what is on this system. You know what I mean? I think the exclusives have some value.
And I think they do have value, and it's cool when, Sony has their internal studios that do that, and Microsoft has their Microsoft Game Studios that do that. You have your Halos and your Fables, and Forza is big on Xbox, just name a couple. PlayStation, you have, God of War, Uncharted, Last of Us. The Spider-Man is now exclusive, so Insomniac Games. But now they're buying so many companies that what used to be third parties are now under their two, and now it's like too many exclusives.
Yeah,
they're too walled off. There's got to be like a happy medium. So it's,
and I just love that. Like I love it. 2 weeks ago, it was Microsoft buys Bungie for all the money in the world. And then last week, it's Sony buy. No, what did they buy? Microsoft bought Activision, and then Sony bought Bungie,
and then said, "There's more coming."
And so there's more coming. And then this week, there's headlines from Nintendo going, "We're good."
Yeah. And then
We're not looking to buy anybody. We're fine.
Nintendo was like, yeah, when it makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
Like, they don't,
That's
they don't
always
need
been
to.
their thing. Yeah. They always just like, listen, you guys go for the cutting edge tech and you guys try to do this.
Yeah.
We're going to be here making Mario and Zelda games for a while. Okay. So you
it's
do.
working.
Yeah, it's working. You know, yeah.
You know?
We're using tech from 5-10 years ago, but people are still buying. The Switch just officially outsold the Wii, I think.
Yeah.
So
It
they
just
know
hit
what
over
they're
100
doing.
million units.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah.